He left the seat for her. Jungkook's heart-wrenching tribute silenced the world. You will cry too. He walked past rows of cheering fans toward a dazzling stage. But that wasn't what made the world fall silent that night. It wasn't his thundering voice, not the flawless choreography that hypnotized millions of eyes, nor the grandeur of the stage visuals. No. The world held its breath for one reason. Jungkook did not sit. He left a single seat in the front row, empty, tied with a white ribbon adorned with a small flower, as if saying to the universe, "This place is not for me, but for her, who can no longer be in this world." Who is her? What does one empty seat mean in a concert so perfectly choreographed down to the last second before lights out? Why would a star as big as Jungkook choose silence as a form of tribute? Thousands of people attended that night, but only one spot drew all the attention. And when Jungkook approached it at the end of the concert, bowed his head before the seat, then whispered barely audibly, "This is for you," the stadium fell into stillness. Still like a mourning room. Still like a final whisper. This tribute didn't come suddenly. In silence, through songs that gradually changed in tone, perceptive fans began to feel it long before the dramatic moment occurred. Songs like "Still With You," which once felt like a regular love ballad, now sound like a death letter that was never sent. The lyrics hold an unnamed sorrow, and Jungkook, with all his fame, sings not to please the world, but to remind himself that true love never leaves. It only changes form. Then the moment came. During the world tour titled Golden Eclipse, in Seoul, the city where he grew up and fell in love with music, Jungkook added a new element. An empty chair. No announcement. No explanation. Just a white ribbon and a small blue flower. And from that moment on, every concert had a seat that no one was allowed to sit in. No name, no note. But everyone knew that place was sacred. A few days later, HYB issued a vague statement. There are forms of tribute that require no words. We respect our artist's choice to express his love in a way that only the heart can understand. The media speculated. Who was behind this tribute? A family member? An old friend? A young love that faded before it could be celebrated? Some fans insisted it was connected to Sunshine, a figure Jungkook once mentioned in a live stream years ago, a friend who came like sunlight and disappeared before he could be touched. But Jungkook never explained directly. He only said in a limited interview, "I never wanted to forget, but I also didn't want to cry in front of the world all the time. So I sang. That's all I could do." In a world of entertainment filled with exposure and sensation, this attitude feels almost impossible. To honor without speaking, to love without declaring, to grieve without seeking sympathy, and perhaps that's where the true power of this tribute lies. Because not all losses need explanations. Not all love needs a label. That empty seat became a symbol. For Jungkook, it was a space that couldn't be replaced. For fans, a reminder that even someone as strong as Jungkook holds pain. And for the world, it was a call that in all this grandeur, sometimes the most touching thing is silence. During the concerts, whenever deeply emotional songs were performed, the audience would slowly glance toward that empty seat, as if sharing in a grief never spoken aloud. Some even began bringing letters, flowers, or paper cranes to quietly place near the white ribbon encircling the seat. No one touched it. No one tried to sit, because they all knew this wasn't just a chair. It was a space of memory. A T1 concert in Osaka, the audience witnessed something even more heartbreaking. After performing the final song, Mayu, Jungkook sat on the stage floor, gazing at the empty seat for nearly a minute. He said nothing, didn't smile, just stared, then wiped his eyes before finally standing and leaving the stage. No encore. No would be it. Because maybe for Jungkook, that night wasn't for the thousands in the crowd, but for one soul who could no longer be there. And he had delivered it. Popular culture psychologists call this a public ritual of private loss. In a world demanding transparency and clear narratives, Jungkook chose a nearly impossible path, expressing grief through art, not words. He chose one small symbol, an empty chair, to convey the full spectrum of emotion. And the result? The world cried. Not because they knew the full story, but because they felt that love and loss could be so deep, even when left unspoken. 15 concerts passed, and the chair remained. Even as the tour moved from Seoul to Berlin, Tokyo to Los Angeles. At every venue, the production team ensured the seat was prepared first, and fans began to write their own stories, depict their own losses, place their own love into that chair. Jungkook, in his silence, created a universal space where love that could not be spoken finally had formed. Will he ever reveal who the person behind that seat was? Perhaps not. And maybe that's what makes it all feel more real. Because in a world increasingly hungry for detail and acknowledgement, one thing remains unchanged. True love does not need a name to be eternal, and maybe that's why you'll cry. Not because you know who she is, but because you too have loved someone you can now only meet in memory. In song. In silence, Jungkook did not leave the stage that night as an idol. He left it as a human who had loved, had lost, and chose not to forget. One seat, one soul, one tribute, and the world fell silent. But behind the emotion and admiration for Jungkook's tribute, a question emerges that we simply cannot ignore. Did this really happen? Or even further, is this real, or just an illusion crafted by media narratives and our collective desire to believe in a beautiful, tragic story? We live in an era where information spreads faster than our ability to verify it. A 15-second TikTok video, an emotional YouTube compilation, long threads on Twitter, and dramatic articles on entertainment blogs all can form one major narrative, a story so convincing that we forget to ask, what's the source? Who started it? And is the evidence we have valid enough to call it reality? So, let's reflect together. When we see that empty chair at Jungkook's concert, is it truly a meaningful personal tribute? Or could it be part of an emotional choreography, carefully curated to create an emotional connection with the audience, which is fiction? And this is where critical thinking becomes essential. We, as information deliverers, cannot and should not impose a single point of view. What we present in this article is a summary from various sources: TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, and several other digital entertainment media. However, the accuracy of this information still needs further verification. Some videos do show the empty chair. Some fans have indeed noted silent moments from Jungkook on stage, but is that enough to prove this entire narrative of eternal love and loss? We ask you, what do you think? Do you believe this is a sincere tribute from Jungkook to someone who has passed away? Or do you see this as emotional exploitation used to strengthen fanbase loyalty? Do you feel touched, or rather led, to believe in something unclear in its truth? Maybe there truly is a great love behind Jungkook's songs. Maybe the empty chair really holds a personal history that will never be revealed. But maybe it's just a symbol whose meaning is shaped not by Jungkook, but by us. So now the question is no longer, is this real? But do we want it to be real? And if so, why? We invite you to write your thoughts in the comments section. Do you believe in this story? Do you feel information like this should always be questioned? Or do you think that in today's hyperlogical, exposed world, we actually need room to believe in things that might not be entirely real? Thank you for watching and reflecting with us. Stay alert, stay thoughtful, and most importantly, keep asking questions.